And very briefly, a case in point is there's an officer, Officer Kanoy, who we've successfully sued for almost $1 million for tasing a man in his head, because Officer Kanoy allegedly was dating a man's daughter, who was a kid, teenager. And lost that civil rights lawsuit, and while that civil rights lawsuit was pending, and after he had been fired from the Sleepy Hollow Police Department, got hired by the city of Mount Vernon to be a police officer. My understanding is that he is now the head of internal affairs. So if you make...
And you're absolutely correct.
If you make a complaint about a Mount Vernon police officer, do you think that that's going to fall on deaf ears? And then there's another gentleman, I keep calling people gentlemen, I have to rephrase myself. There's another man who is named Michael Marcasilli, who we have sued successfully for assaulting a retired black Mount Vernon police officer at a Mount Vernon basketball game where Mayor Ernie Davis and Commissioner Chong were present. And he took him and grabbed him and threw him up against a wall, smacked his hat over his head repeatedly, and said, "You were never a police officer," because the man happened to have small talk with one of his fellow officers saying, "I used to be on the job." And our witness was the other Mount Vernon officer who said, and then the sergeant just kept hitting the man and smacking his hat off of his head. Well, we almost got $500,000 in that case. Well, Officer Marcasilli is still a Mount Vernon police officer, and last year shot Anthony Smith, shot at him 5 to 7 times, striking him 5 times. Mr. Smith was 5'6", 130 pounds, and after almost 30 surgeries, survived, thank goodness. But ask yourself, why is it Ray Rice can't carry a football? I don't think any of us here are afraid Ray Rice is going to come into our house and smack us around, that Adrian Peterson's going to hit us with a switch. Nobody's concerned about that. But we take more care about them. We worry more about what Bill Cosby did 40 years ago than what any police officer or campus officer can do to you right now. So when you have men and women who are on the rolls to become police officers, who really are there for the right reasons and would make exemplary officers, but they can't get their foot in the door because we keep the Officer Marcasillis and we keep the Kanoys there, that's an issue.
It is crucial that we ask the question how there is less responsibility on law enforcement than there are for NFL football players. So if you simply look at Adrian Peterson, and you look at Ray Rice, and you look at the fact that they either lost their jobs or were suspended without pay for a year, sometimes even more, for incidents that did not impact the general public. Yet people who have sworn to serve and protect do not even receive the same scrutiny. And for instance, Officer Kanoy, who was terminated from the Sleepy Hollow Police Department and then hired by the Mount Vernon Police and scrutinized his fellow officers, even though he has federal civil rights violations where there are judgments against him. And you look at Sergeant Michael Marcasilli, also of the Mount Vernon Police Department, who was found liable for beating a retired police officer and injuring that police officer and violating his federal civil rights, as well as apparently 2 other federal civil rights violations. Yet somehow he is able to maintain his employment. And how is it that these municipalities hire and maintain officers like this when there's so many young men and women who go through the police academy and go into it with all of the right reasons and with the best intentions in their heart, and somehow they cannot find a position in the Mount Vernon Police Department or with any of our other local police departments?